Hey videographers and audio engineers, do you prefer the sound of a lavalier mic
or of a shotgun?
Well, I nearly always use a lav. And although I usually have it taped to the inside of my glasses, today it's on my shirt, about 20 centimeters away from my mouth.
While my voice is recorded using a shotgun mic. It's just there on the top of the shot. It's about a meter away. And full disclosure, this is the Deity S-Mic 2S, which Pergear sent over for me to review. They're based in China, and because of the costs and the complexities of shipping across borders, they don't want it back. I paid the duty when it arrived.
Personally, I prefer using a lav. It's much simpler, as I usually use the VT506, which is tiny and has the mini connector to plug directly into the camera. This Sony ECM 44 has an XLR connector, which I've plugged into a Tascam DR70D portable mixer. I've recorded the audio on the mixer and synced the recordings in editing. So when I'm talking, you hear the lavalier.
And when I'm talking, you hear the shotgun. The Deity also has an XLR connector, and it requires phantom power from the mixer, 24 or 48. And it's made of brass. It's designed to be weather resistant. It's fairly small, about 14 centimeters, and light, 90 grams. A boom mount and a windsock are included. It comes in a sturdy travel case, which I certainly appreciate.
The lav has a nice close sound and is tuned for my vocal range, and in my experience it provides a good isolated recording of my voice, even in noisy environments. And of course it's small enough to hide inside a shirt, which makes it both inconspicuous and cuts down on wind noise. The ECM44 isn't small enough to mount on my glasses, but there are lots of lavs that are.
The shotgun provides a livelier, open, and roomy sound, and to my ear, a more extended frequency response. But even with the Deity's supercardioid polar pickup pattern, which should isolate sounds coming from the back and the sides, it picks up more ambient sound, so can be less effective in noisy environments. And for exterior locations, you'll likely want a bigger and a better windsock, what audio operators call a dead cat. In general, using a shotgun like this requires more equipment, a boom pole, a mixer, and often an operator if the mic needs to be repositioned during the shot. If we were using just the shotgun for this scene,
you'd need someone to reposition it, and probably to adjust levels while recording. Using an external recorder also requires me to synchronize the audio and the video recordings while editing. Now, that's not hard, it's just more work.
And let me note that there are cameras with XLR connectors, and some manufacturers have optional XLR connection and mixer devices for some cameras. Then you have the audio recorded on the camera instead of on an external mixer. There's not much more to say, and you've had a chance to compare the sound of this shotgun to a lav. I'm not going to tell you that one is better than the other. They're different and can either be more or less appropriate or useful for a specific situation. Audio is not a one-mic-fits-all solution.
So all you've heard is us talking. And after arranging the mic, Pergear's rep also offered to send a 12-string guitar made and distributed by one of his friends. I thought that would be a good demo for a mic. Want to try it out?
No thanks. I've asked Paul Marshman if he'd come over and try it out.
Well, it seems to be pretty well constructed. It's, you know, now we're not talking about quality wood here. You're not getting solid rosewood or anything, but, you know, it seems to be quite solid. I'm not seeing any real flaws. You know, there's no gaps, there's no messy joints or anything. And, you know, it looks pretty good. Well, it's got a nice mid-tone. It's got a ring to it, that's for sure. You know, you get a lot of sound out of this guitar. You know, you don't have to really drive it. You don't have to really drive it to get a lot of sound out of it. That said, you're not getting a big deep bass, and you know, to me, this is an entry-level guitar. But even if you're an intermediate player, you know, and you want to have a 12-string around, and you don't want to spend a lot of money, it's not a bad investment.
The guitar is from a brand called Vangoa, and came with all the accessories: a tuner, a capo, picks, a gig bag, a neck strap, and a cable to connect to an amp.
Now, if you are using an amp, there's a battery-powered control panel with a volume control and 4 tone adjustments. And the tuning heads are sealed, and inside there's an internal rod adjustment that can be adjusted for string height. We didn't play with that. And I asked Rob McDougall if he'd try it out.
It's harder to play this kind of stuff on a 12-string guitar, but it actually is the action on the guitar is very good, and the strings are nicely close together. Whereas on my Fender 12 F55, it's harder. It takes a lot more muscle strength to play. So this is actually quite an easy guitar to play. The neck is a nice size. Like mine is about maybe this much wider. And the strings are nice and light strings, so they're very easy to reach. You know, you can get up here. You can play some of the licks up of it, that kind of stuff. But then you can also go and do, you know, some, you know, or. Or some funk. Or some rhythm and blues.
Things we do, we don't often need a shotgun, but it is nice to have this one in our toolkit. For the next while, we'll try to alternate between the two. We'll keep you posted in the description, where you'll also find links to the guitar and the mics. As a B&H associate, we will earn a small commission from your purchases, and the Amazon links are those provided by Pergear and Vangoa.
Now, part of what makes YouTube fun for us is interacting with you. Now, if you have questions or comments, one of us will reply to all of your relevant questions and civil comments. We would like to thank all of our subscribers. Your interest and support is appreciated. And if you're thinking about subscribing, remember that if you act fast, well, or slowly, we'd love to have you join us.